Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special meeting of the Trumbull Town Council. Would everybody kindly rise for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mike Buswell,
Here.
Ann Sather,
Here.
Richard Wolf,
Here.
Anthony Dorsey,
Here.
John Foreman,
Here.
Joy Cologne,
Here.
Tony Cinto, Mary Isaac,
Here.
Jennifer Winchell,
Here.
Jason Marsh,
Here.
Ashley Gaudiano,
Here.
Joe Pivko,
Here.
Steve Lemoyne,
Here.
Kevin Shively,
Here.
Eric Story, Nicole Satin,
Here.
Thank you, Veronica Lenzen,
Here.
Carl Massaro,
Here.
Scott Wick,
Here.
Kelly Malazzi,
Here.
and Bill Mecca.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 3 of the Trumbull Town Charter, the Town Council will consider the spending budget of $218,565,484 recommended to us by the Board of Finance. The Town Council may not exceed spending appropriations by the greater of the budget total or line items as proposed by the First Selectman and the Board of Finance. Town Council may reduce the total budget or individual line items, including elimination of entire line items, if we so vote. Motions to reduce a line item requires a majority vote of members present and voting. Motions to increase a line item require a 2/3 majority vote of the members present and voting. We will be assisted tonight by our Finance Director, Maria Pyrus, as we proceed through each section of the recommended budget. We have one resolution on our agenda. Mr. Dorsey, would you move this to the floor, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Resolution TC 30-54, to consider and act upon a resolution which would adopt the annual budget for the town of Trumbull for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, as recommended by the Board of Finance and amended by the Town Council, and would be appropriate the sums stated therein as amended for their respective purposes as set forth therein.
So I think you read the agenda item, not the resolution. All right.
Resolution TC 30-54, be it resolved that the annual budget for the town of Trumbull for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2025, as recommended by the Board of Finance and amended by the Town Council, be and the same is hereby adopted, and that the sums stated therein as amended for their respective purposes be and the same are hereby appropriated.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Ann. All right, everybody here has the spreadsheet, and we'll just begin by going through each section. So we'll start with the general fund and general government, and I'll call for any motions first regarding the town council. Hearing none, the next is the Trumbull Nature Commission. Next is the Ethics Commission. Huge budget there. First Selectman's Office. Any motions? Okay. Next is Probate. Followed by Elections. Then move to the Finance Department. Board of Finance. Tax Assessor. Board of Assessment Appeals. Tax Collector. Purchasing Department. Office of the Treasurer. Technology. Ms. Isaac?
Yes, for technology, line item 581888 capital outlay, to increase it by $4,500 for the 3 laptops for the elections department.
Thank you. Do we have a second? I saw Mr. Shively's hand there. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion to add $4,500 to this line item, please raise your hands. Anybody opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Anything else on technology? Move to town attorneys. Next is human resources. None there. I believe we'll come back to employee benefits. Okay. So next item in general government then would be town clerk. Next is town hall. Planning and zoning. Economic development. Inland Wetlands Commission. Conservation Commission. And the Transit District. Nothing there. Maria, do we go back to employee benefits? No? Not yet.
In case you make any changes.
The very end, okay. All right then. So we'll not take a vote on general government. We'll move to public safety. First department is the police department. Any motions? Next is animal control. Emergency medical services. Fire marshal. An old-time favorite, fire marshal, fire hydrants.
Just shout out to Mike London.
Yes, yes. The Venerable Mike London hated the fact that we paid this kind of money to the water company for the painting of fire hydrants. But I'm sure it's more than that. All right, nothing there. Building official. Emergency management. Under Public Works, we have the Public Works Director. Streetlights, another London favorite. The Public Works Highways. Ms. Isaac?
Under program supplies, 534402, to reduce it by $70,000.
We have a second? Ms. Staton, thank you.
And this was due to the quote on the catch basins. When the budget came out from Mr. Estrada, he had thought that the catch basins were going to go to $80 a basin to clean. We clean 1,000 a year. It was reduced to $70 based on historical. Board of Finance upped it to 105, sorry, if everybody's, because that's what they, George had thought it was coming in at that point. They went out to rebid because the company was no longer servicing us, and the bid came in at 35 a catch basin.
Okay, very good. Maybe if we,
Did you catch all that? I mean,
yeah, I'm thinking if we wait till June, it'll go lower. But then we'd be in trouble. Any other comments on the motion to reduce this line item by 70,000? All in favor, raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Anything else in Public Works Highway? All right, highway snow removal. Public Works building maintenance. Fleet maintenance. The recycling center. Town engineer. Public health. We have the health department. Vital statistics. Then we get to nursing, seniors section. Oh, did we vote on public health or not yet? Not yet. Okay. Social services, human services. The first section is social services. Is there a motion there? I did note in the Finance Committee minutes, there was a motion to increase line 534401, $645.
That's under the Mary Sherlock.
Sorry, it's under what?
Mary Sherlock?
The next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, you read the minutes.
Okay. Sorry about that. I did. All right, we'll pass social services and we'll go to the Mary Sherlock Counseling Center. Ms. Isaac.
Yes, the large amount of $645. Line item 534401, materials and supplies office. The Board of Finance had reduced it because they weren't sure what that was for. And the department needs to keep files for 7 years, and they just need to add more file cabinets. So a small amount, but they do need them.
Okay, we did get a second on that motion.
Oh, sorry, I went to discussion.
That's okay. We need a second.
Second.
Mr. Shively, thank you. Okay. All right, so we have the explanation. Any further comment? Now a call for a vote on this motion to add $645. All in favor, raise your hands. Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Next is senior citizens services. I'm just dying to vote on the total. Not yet, though. All right, we'll go to,
I wasn't sure if you want a total by each area. You can ask for one.
no. Well, we'll wait, I guess. All right, and we move to the education department. First line item is education. Is there any motion here? Okay. School nurses. Ms. Satin.
So I'd like to move to add $1,500 back to the uniform allowance on line 501888.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Ms. Isaac, thank you. Explanation? Or discussion?
I will not be as eloquent as I was at our committee meeting, but I would just like to say that I think that our nurses work very hard, and they don't deserve to be going home with our children's bodily fluid all over their own personal clothing. So I just feel strongly that it's not a lot of money, and we should give their uniform allowance back.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? All right, the motion is to add $1,500 to this line item. All in favor, raise your hands. Opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous as well. Go to the non-public school section. Trumbull Business Education Initiative. Trumbull Community Television. All right, we have total education. We have a new number there.
132,595,603.
All right. Guess we should vote on that total, shouldn't we? Yeah, okay. So we have that number for education. All in favor, please raise your hands. Anybody opposed? Abstentions? All right. It's approved. We'll move to libraries. Anything under libraries? All right. Next, we go to recreation and parks. First is public events. Any motions under public events? Next is parks. Mr. Dorsey.
I make a motion, line item 522205, youth program, to reduce $25,000 from the budget, bringing total up to $18,000.
Second.
Reduced by 25,000 to 18,000.
The youth program, from 43,000 down to 18,000.
We have a second from Ms. Lenzen. Discussion?
I believe there's some ARPA money still that hadn't been spent, and I believe that in the meetings there was a revenue of around $72,000. So while it is a reduction, it still is a 50% increase from the budget from 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Any other comments, questions?
Through the chair,
Ms.
I just need a
Guardiana?
minute to take a peek at what's in that account. So if we can have 1 second, or if Maria can speak to what's in that account. Right, I know we've got a bigger conversation to have around ARPA and what remains. But I don't feel like I can vote on that without having a little bit more information or having just a minute to take a peek at that.
I think you mentioned 72,000 that they had available. I believe that was 72,000 of revenue
Right.
they generated, but they had expenses to go towards that 72,000.
I understand.
Ned was, they needed to use some of the ARPA just to break even.
I understand.
Do you know what the balance
In the ARPA?
in the ARPA allocation is? I think it was they only used about half of the allocation, if I remember.
That's all I just want to know. Is this community?
Through the chair, is this regarding the theater program specifically? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
The community theater.
Yep.
I want to wait for.
There was $72,000 of income, but there were expenses against it. They did not. Right, which was successful.
Have the mic right there.
I think it's on.
So the revenue that was produced from that show for the one weekend production of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was about I don't have the sheet in front of me. It's about $72,000, but that's a gross figure. There were obviously expenses against that, so it is not like they had a revenue producing from that show of 72,000. So I believe you're now saying that we could look to ARPA for additional expense if we need it for the show that is going to happen next December. Is that what you're saying?
We do have additional ARPA funds available that if we needed to use it towards this program, it could be an opportunity.
Well, we are going to come before you next month to talk about ARPA. So if we want to discuss that at that point, you make if you're going to make a commitment to make sure that this show is funded again, if you need additional monies, you can discuss it at the time if you're going to remove the $25,000 from the budget. Is that what you're looking to do?
No, what I'm saying is giving them a 50% increase to $18,000. And I understand there was expenses, but
well, I'm just not following. So there's not there's not an increase for the community theater of $18,000. That's other expenses in there for the youth programs. That's not just the community theater.
Yeah, I think the thrust of the motion is that the community theater project is in the black, so to speak. When we looked at the ARPA monies in January, the allocation that they were given was only about 50% spent. So there was that much
Yes,
there.
there is a balance of some ARPA money there.
I don't know how much of the $72,000 in revenue is left over, because I don't think they had $70,000 in ARPA money to begin with.
No.
They had like 50 or something.
They had $35,000
35.
in ARPA.
Okay.
Right.
And I don't have my information in front of me, but
I don't have it in
there's a
front of me either.
substantial amount there, but I think the point is taking out of the budget still gives us an opportunity to fund their next production with ARPA money where there's $450,000 or more available. Okay.
Thank you. I just needed the time to look at that line, so I appreciate it.
Okay. Any further discussion on it? All right, then I'll call for a vote. All in favor of reducing the line item by $25,000, please raise your hands. Opposed? Okay. That motion fails. 10-10. Is there any other motion? Under Parks? If not, we'll go to Tree Warden. And then Debt Service. Go back to Employee Benefits. Thank you for that. Will you? No, I think we'll do that after.
There were no changes to fringe benefits.
We have to do it.
No changes to fringe benefits. You made no changes, but you have to vote on the general government.
Well, before we do that, the clerk is suggesting that we first take up the enterprise funds. So I will follow her lead. Let's go to the enterprise funds. It's on page 19. First one is sewer. Any motions there? Second one is Tashua Knolls. All right, no motions there. So we'll go back to employee benefits. Mr. Dorsey?
I have a motion for line item 522107 to reduce the budget by 509,000. My main reason, do we need a second before?
You're talking about line item,
The police pension contribution, 522107, reduced by $509,000.
that's the town pension.
Town pension.
Okay, so the motion is to reduce that line item 522107 by
Yes.
509,000.
Yes.
Do we have that second? Ms. Lenzen, thank you. Okay, now we can have discussion.
My main reason is we have a $218 million budget. We are looking at potentially $165 million in bonding that might need to go to referendum. And to me, this is a big number that sticks out. So that's my motion.
But through the chair, could we ask for a little more detail about what the actual reason for choosing this line item to reduce by $500,000?
Well, that was the amount that the Board of Finance increased that budget. I would ask Ms. Pyrus, what is the actuarially required amount for this fiscal year? Is that as presented by the First Selectman?
Yes, that is.
$5,637,000. That's what's required. Okay, so this motion would take us back down to that number. Mr. Marsh.
I appreciate Mr. Dorsey's comment, and he's not wrong. It's a big number, but in the scope of a $218 million budget, it is not that big a percentage. And I think if we have opportunities like this to pay down extra towards the unfunded liabilities of the pensions, then we should do that to sort of correct the decades of when we didn't fund our pensions properly, and you have to chip away at little portions when you can. So I think that I think there could be arguments on both sides, but I would support leaving that money in.
Thank you. Ms. Isaac?
I will not be able to speak to this well at all, Maria can. But the assumption by the Board of Finance was because the police had changed their assumption for the pension versus the town. So they went from 7.5 to 7. So this was to equalize the two as well. So, but obviously Maria can speak to that better than I can.
Can you speak to that, Maria?
I have time here. Yes, basically, the police actuary evaluation had interest rate, a discount rate of 7%. That was one of the assumptions. And on the town side, it was 7.25%. This 509,000 just gets the town to the same 7% discount rate.
I don't know who the right person to ask is, but why should the discount rate assumptions be the same for both funds? The police pension is more substantially funded. The town side is substantially less funded.
Right. The discount rate actually increased the ARC, or the ADC. And at the time, we, on the town side, made several assumptions, such as the mortality table and other, and we couldn't afford to do both. But the police department decided to change their assumptions, even though their plan is well-funded, better funded than the town, I should say.
Okay. Anybody else? Squadiano?
I just have another question for Maria. Maria, are there any implications for not having that money in, right? If we follow Councilman Dorsey's motion and we don't add that extra 509,000,
There are no implications.
no implications.
We are funding the ARC, so that's what we need to fund every year.
Okay.
This is just an extra because to be on the same basis as the police.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? I know historically, we've gotten professional advice not to go beyond the arc because in the long run, it doesn't really make a significant difference. If you've been around town long enough, we underfunded for many years the pension. And so getting back to the arc is a way of making up for what we didn't fund decades ago. And that is deemed sufficient to properly fund our budget our town pension going forward. Historic rationale. Anybody else? All right, then I will call for a vote. The motion is to reduce this line item by $509,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Any other motions for employee benefits? Hearing none, Maria, can you give us a new total?
Fringe benefits, $21,080,119. $21,080,119.
Thank you, and we will need a new total for general government.
Total for general government is $29,744,626.
Okay,
Can you say that one more time?
$29,744,626.
before we vote on the general government total, are there any other motions in any of the departments for general government? If not, I'll ask for a vote to approve the general government number $29,744,626.
Calling for the vote now.
All in favor? It's hard to get those numbers out of my throat. Sorry. Anybody opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So I think we go to a new grand total.
Do you want public safety? Do you want to go through all the other totals?
Yeah, why not?
Total for public safety is $15,962,905. $15,962,905.
It's public safety. Okay. So that's the number $15,962,905. All in favor? Please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? All right.
Public Works.
All right.
Public
We have a
Works.
new number there.
$10,314,582.
Okay, I'll call for a vote for Public Works, $10,314,582. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? It's approved. I think we're doing Public Health.
Public Health, $610,687.
One more time, please.
$610,687.
All right, total for this section, $610,687. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous. Go to education,
Social service.
social services, sorry.
977,700.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous. I think we've made it to education.
132,595,603.
Three.
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 $3.
603. 132, 595, 603. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it's unanimous. Next total is recreation and parks, I believe. Did I miss something? Libraries? All right, library. No change to that, $1,917,220. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous? Now we get to recreation and parks. We have a new number there, I believe, or don't?
Same number.
Same number, that's right. $3,961,164. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Debt service. There's no change there, I believe. $8,202,357. All in favor, please raise your hands. Opposed? Abstentions? Unanimous. And total general fund. Maria?
You on that? 204,286,844. A decrease of 572,355.
Okay, total general fund budget, $204,286,844. All in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Opposed? Abstentions? That is unanimous. First enterprise fund is sewer, $10,947,253. No changes there. All in favor, please raise your hands. Opposed? Abstentions? That is unanimous. Tashua Knolls Enterprise Fund is also unchanged. It's $2,759,032. All in favor, please raise your hands. Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Thank you. Total enterprise funds, $13,706,285. All in favor, please raise your hands. Opposed? Abstentions? We need a new grand total, Maria?
217,993,129.
217,993,129. All right, grand total, $217,993,129. All in favor, please raise your hands. Opposed? Abstentions? It's unanimous. Well, 2004, 2005 budget is adopted.
Through the chair, just wanted to acknowledge all the hard work by the town department heads, the finance staff, and Board of Finance in this body. It was never an easy task, and I think this year was done exceptionally smooth and with very little contention. So kudos to all.
I would echo those sentiments. Like I said, Monday's meeting, there's a lot of communication, and it really serves us and it serves the public very well. So I am grateful for that. as well. Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Pifko? Ms. Sather, second. All in favor? Thank you. We are adjourned. Let's go Rangers.
Just a figurehead.